Today on BladeHQ.com, we are taking a look at the Rock Creek Knives Cascade. If that's not a mouthful, I'm not sure what is. Kind of a cool knife out of China. Now, the cool thing about Rock Creek Knives is they are actually made by Cascade, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, who is a sword maker. They basically started out making samurai swords in China, so it's a Chinese-run company. So it's not just a manufacturer sending their designs over to China to be made. This is actually a Chinese-made company, Chinese originating company. So, and the interesting thing to me is I can tell the difference between this stuff and other things that manufacturers simply just send over there to get made. It seems like these have a little bit more TLC, tender loving care, put into them. So for what it is and what it costs, very cool knife. This one is $39.95. We'll go over the specs with it. We're going to compare it to the CRKT Centifonte Tribute 2, as well as the Buck Light. So a couple of comparisons for you. We'll go over the specs as fast as we can and get right into it. The overall length on this one is 6 3/4 inches. The blade length is 2.8 inches. Made from HWS 2K steel. You can see that right there. It's got that thumb stud on it. Just on the one side, though. So if you are a lefty, you're probably out of luck unless you can use your right hand, which I hope you can if you are a lefty. I can use my left hand, but not to open this one. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. It's got that thumb stud on it, and it is a little tight in that pivot. So the opening does take a little bit of force, but it opens nicely. It's pretty smooth once it's going. Lockup, it's a back lock on it. Let's go back to the blade, excuse me. Sorry for getting sidetracked. It is a hollow ground blade. Just feeling it with my thumb here. I can feel that hollow grind on it. Let's get some measurements right here. I mentioned it was 2.8 inches overall. On the spine of the blade, 0.118 inches. On the blade side, 0.016 inches. Handle thickness, while we're talking about it, is just under half an inch, 0.49 inches. And it's got that pocket clip on it. Here's a shot of it in my pocket. So you're going to have a fair amount sticking out, a good, almost an inch there. But that pocket clip is removable. Now, one thing I noticed, this one almost seems like a kind of a Buck 110 sort of feel to it, just the placement of the back lock. Just kind of a, I don't want to say good old boys folder, but kind of. It's kind of got that feel to it. And it's made in Dalian, China. Now, one thing about Rock Creek Knives, made by Cascade, they actually melt their own steel. They create their own steels simply because they had trouble getting pure steels in China. So domestic steels in China that were exactly what they wanted. So they said, forget you guys. And they do their own thing now, which I think is kind of cool. So they make it work, which to me is impressive coming from a Chinese company. I know that there are a lot of really good manufacturers out there, but it seems like in the knife industry, sometimes stuff coming from China isn't the very best that there is. And this stuff is pretty impressive. For what it costs, I'm impressed. Now, it's got these handle scales are stabilized brown leather, which I think is pretty cool. They kind of have a G10 feel and look to them, but they are actually leather, brown leather. Let me see if I can get this to look a little better for you. Kind of better look. So kind of cool. They've got that texturing pressed into the leather. So anyway, I think that's those are the big specs on this one. 3.4 ounces on the weight. The closed length is 3.8 inches. Let me show you it in the hand, so you get an idea. Fits nicely in my hand. That pocket clip is going to be a bit of a hot spot if you're working a lot. Kind of sticks up quite a bit. Just feeling it. No jimping there or anything. So there you go. So let's take a look. This is the Centifonte Tribute 2, kind of in the same price range, $27.50 for the Tribute, and $40 for the Cascade from Rock Creek. Different blade styles. The weight on this one is much lighter, except it cut off, so I don't have it right in front of me. But same basic lockup mechanism, But let's be honest, this Rock Creek feels much, much nicer. I mean, just hard use folder when compared to the Centifonte memory. The Centifonte it kind of feels like a toothpick as far as just, it's kind of a gentleman's folder, no pocket clip on it. This kind of thing that you can open boxes with, get your orange for lunch open. By the way, the blade centering there is way off. Just thought I'd throw that out there on the Centifonte. And while we're talking about blade centering, let's take a look at this one. Blade centering, spot on, impressive, from China. And the blade play, front to back, nothing. Side to side, nothing. Just the flex of the steel there. Impressive, very, very impressive from China. Also, CRKT either made in China or Taiwan, I'm not sure on this one, but just a different knife. The steel on this one is 7CR17 MOV steel, so kind of a cheaper steel. Now, excuse me, sometimes I do these reviews, I do a bunch of them at once, and I should probably get some water or something in here, but I don't. So anyway, we got the buck light is here as well. Little manual knife. This one, USA made, 1995. This one is like an exuberant little blade. Like I open it, it gets to there, and it's just like wants to be open. It's got this glass reinforced nylon handle on it in the orange safety color, which almost, I don't know, almost looks more pink to me, kind of an orangish pink, salmon, if you will, salmon. Ambidextrous thumb stud on this one. Let me show you these two together. This one's kind of the buck is a little bit larger knife, but you can see kind of a comparison. It's got the same sort of backlock, that Buck 110 backlock feel to it, kind of the old school gentleman's lockup is kind of where I think of that one. I don't know if that's warranted or not. I do like that deep carry pocket clip on this buck. That's one thing I highly enjoy, is a deep carry pocket clip. So just kind of some different options for you. This buck weighs 2.6 ounces versus 3.4. Just depends on what you want to use them for as well. This Rock Creek knife is going to look good in a suit. It's kind of got that gentlemanly folder feel to it. Not very, I mean, you could pull this out in public and people aren't going to stare. This buck is very orangish pink. So anyway, just different options for you. Different varieties of knives. And oh, one last thing before we take off here. Let's take a look at the grind on this knife. Sitting right around 15 degrees is the grind. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. We appreciate it. And be sure to buy this knife at bladehq.com. That's the place to buy all fine cutlery if you're interested in it. I hope this has been helpful. If this were something that interested me, I would buy it. It's high quality, and I'm impressed with it first look overview. So I'm going to recommend it, and I'm going to recommend that you buy it at bladehq.com. Buy it now.